So the first 2 rounds of FIA World RX, and, well, they couldn't have been any more different. I mean, the outcomes were very much still the same, but let's talk a little bit about them. Let's have a bit of a reflection on what was the Ferratum World RX of Sweden. And let's start off with that tale of 2 weekends. It was dry, then it was wet. Kristoffersen was at the top of both of them, but in very different circumstances. The first one, he came out of it, despite getting the win in the first of this Battle of Technologies era, joined first on points. With Clara Anderson, she was fantastic in terms of her form in the first event. The second one, it didn't really come together in the same way, missed out on the final, but it was still a fantastic weekend for her, and she's second in the championship. Well, sorry, no, third in the championship, I misspeak. Joined second in a way, because the other person who she shares that step with is her teammate, Niklas Gronholm, who, again, it was one of 2 different events, struggled in the first event, and the second one in the wet was in fantastic form. Behind them, only just behind them by a single point, is Ulla Christian Veiby, who had all kinds of tumultuous experiences in these 2 rounds, but still emerges from it 4th in the standings, ahead of Gustav Bergström, the highest electric Volkswagen, and then it's the Hansens. That is so weird to think, that Timmy Hansen, the head of the 2, is in 6th, and then Kevin Hansen is in 7th. Kevin Hansen had a nightmare of a weekend where I think that he had more races where he ended up in the gravel trap in turn 1 than not. But Timmy Hansen had a messy weekend as well, including when the rain came down in the second race. I mean, he blamed Ulla Christian Veiby for the contact. He's like, oh, Veiby should get a penalty. Veiby had turned in by the time the Hansen was going sailing past. So it was a slightly different circumstance. It's a bit like the incident that Kristoffersen had with Niklas Gronholm over the jump, where it was just over the jump, they had the contact which meant on landing, Gronholm was spinning. Can you blame Kristoffersen for that? I mean, you can, but it's not going to be a hefty penalty, right? But yeah, it was just an event of 2 different races. You had the dry one where it was nip and tuck. The EVs were better in terms of launch, but over the course of the lap, it depended on how you were able to handle the car. It was very much up in the air as to whether it was an event for the ICEs or an event for the electrics. The second one, well, I mean, the launch was still there for the electric cars, but over the course of a stint, over the course of a race, you could definitely argue that it was more the race for the drivers that had the ICE, because you could control the car a bit more with things such as engine braking that you couldn't necessarily do with the electric vehicles. But either way, whilst the Magic Weekend was magic, there are still some things that need to be improved on. For example, this was organised at a clash with the European Rally Championship, and in fact the final took place during the ERC's power stage. The fact that this could happen with the WRC promoter running both is a bit of a shame, and it's something that the WRC promoter needs to go back and reflect on, because I think that even though viewing figures are still down, and part of it's because there are still electric cars and people are still dinosaurs about it, part of it's because it's behind a paywall, you can't afford to then have a clash with ERC. I mean, it's sent the Rally TV front page into some kind of disarray where it was saying, oh, you can watch Rally Estonia, but it was showing me thumbnails from the World RX. And what it meant was the Euro RX, which was also fantastic. I had to choose whether I was going to watch the ERC or the Euro RX or the World RX. It's not the most well thought through of things, and you need to be doing better at that, because you've got a brilliant product here. The Euro RX is fantastic, and if you get more Euro RX competitors into the World RX stuff, then that's even better. But we can't really have it be that you have 10 full-time competitors in the top series, Because whilst it means you can form more of a media image around these drivers, and whilst it means you can focus on those battles, the sheer number of people is always a good thing to have. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.